Hi, I have a wet log here today that was cut fresh maybe 2 months ago. I just brought it in from outside. You can still see a little bit of frozen snow and ice on it. I'm going to make an open vase with this log, and I'm going to turn it wet from start to finish. Turn it relatively thin so it has a chance to dry evenly and not crack on me. And I'm going to turn it right on the center here, right on the pith, so that when it expands and moves, hopefully the amount of movement will be symmetrical around the center, which should hopefully reduce the amount of warping and reduce the amount or potential for cracking. I like to do my roughing out with a bowl gouge. This particular one is a 5/8 inch bowl gouge, and I'm using a pull cut. I just find it's much more efficient than using the spindle roughing gouge, especially at this large of a diameter. Here's a close-up view showing that pull cut. I'm using the lower wing of the gouge and rubbing the bevel. It's a very efficient cut. Good way to get your piece into shape very quickly, especially on wet wood. It works really nice. Now that I have the piece round, I'm just creating a tenon to mount in the chuck. With the tenon cut, I've now turned the piece around and put it into my chuck. You can see I'm using tower jaws on the chuck. I find these hold much better for long pieces like this. Now this is the fun and the creative part, where you form the outside and get a really nice looking shape. This is where you really need to take the time to get the piece to look nice and balanced, just the way you want it to look. And you want to be careful to leave a little bit of heavy base at this point for the hollowing process, so it won't be too flexible on the end, and it'll minimize vibrations. I find the easiest way to start the hollowing process is to drill a hole to my desired depth. First I'll drill with a 1-inch drill, and then I follow up with a 1.5-inch drill. These are both Forstner bits, and in this case they're carbide bits, which last quite a bit longer than high-speed steel. I use 3 main methods of hollowing. First, I'll do as much as I can with a bowl gouge, and that was a 5/8 inch bowl gouge. And now this is the Monroe hollowing tool. It's a circular carbide tool with a protected top. It's very efficient for cutting end grain. And then the simplest way is just to use a scraper of some sort. In this case, this is a carbide scraper, but a regular scraper will do the same thing. Now I'll just show you how I use each of these tools. Here, the bowl gouge, I'm using a cut from inside out because it's end grain. If I can cut the other way efficiently, I will as well. You can see that I got shavings, not dust. Now I'm using the Monroe hollower, and here you can really see it's much more efficient, and you can see that I'm getting shavings, not dust. And now finally with a scraper, you can tell that the shavings here are smaller, and it's really more dust than it is shavings. With this wet wood, I've found that the best finish is to do a push cut with the bowl gouge when I'm close to my final thickness. After sanding the piece as best I can while it's wet, I decided to add an alcohol-based dye to this, red on the inside and the outside will be blue. And I'm going to keep adding it more blue until I get the desired color. Now I'm getting ready to part the piece off, and I'm getting down to the diameter that's close to fitting in my live center. Oh, that was a mistake. Hang on to that. I almost lost it. Now I'm just using a 3/8 spindle gouge to clean the bottom up. And there we have it. Now I did some carving and burning off the lathe after I finished the piece, and these were just coated in wipe-on poly. And here are some examples of the finished pieces. Thanks for watching.